So I'm super excited to talk about the fastest ever AQ40 because it's not. It's funny that it ended up tying with the five senders please run that happened today. We're looking at yesterday's run from Eternal. And I think it's fun to think about that 1 second, right? That 1 second difference that made these runs tie. And we don't often get a really good perspective of a healer. I would like to look at this perspective today of Twist, the Paladin. Very impressed overall with their gameplay, and you need to have healers like this in order to have a good raid. I don't have all the answers. Paladin is definitely not my main class, so sometimes I may pose a little bit more questions throughout this. Um, I did look at the point of view of a warrior as well. ATD or ADT, I always forget the correct uh, difference there. I'm having a trouble seeing them in the raid here. I think they're on like core or I forget. The point being that that was number one DPS. So another perspective that we can look at later. I would also like to look at the perspective of five Sunders, please, later. Love to see a counterpoint as the EU voice have done before for me with just kind of talking about like the difference in the two runs when they're pretty similar. It's always fun to get the different perspectives from you guys. So again, I appreciate being able to talk with you guys about this kind of stuff. The start was good. Again, though, to me, it's all about how can you use Death Wish and have Death Wish be gone for this second pack when it's over, not when it's starting. The best runs, they're having their Death Wish run out like here, like as the pack is dying. Whereas ideally, you want to be able to mow through both of these four packs with your Death Wish up. That's the goal to get really, really fast. Again, though, just to put this in perspective, these are the fastest runs ever time wise. Never was below 26 minutes before this, ever, for classic rating, AQ40. That's really cool to see that we're at this point. And the question now is like, can it go below 25 minutes? And the answer is absolutely yes. There's definitely some points here where seconds can be shaved off. I'm just watching this over now because this was kind of a crazy start here. Bubble was used. There's not many times that you're going to see Twist use their bubble. I think that overall that boss fight was basically near perfect, or 1 or 2 seconds, 3 seconds sort of thing where there's not much to talk about. Um, the question is how to get engaged with this next pack as quick as possible and have everyone start moving forward towards the next area quicker. I think there is like 1 or 2 seconds in this area here to have that, but in general, you are going to see that the mindset is clearly moving forward compared to the last Eternal speedrun that we talked about, where there's not these long periods of downtime and just like better gameplay overall. For example, what you see right here, the snowball. So normally people take damage when they have that fall, but snowballs right before the fall happens and no damage. So I think that's a really cool little modification that happens. And again, just like really good patrol timing here. They're able to blast these packs down. And I think there still is the opportunity for a lot more people to be using um, whatever it's called, oil of immolation. If a lot of all these casters just passively have oil of immolation going, they can just move forward here and these things will just tick down even better. But again, sick snowball. Look at that snowball. Absolute gamer. So plays like that make people take a lot less damage, and the raids can just be a lot more aggressive in general. So here they are moving forward, and I thought that was really good um, pacing compared to previously where we talked about this pack, how this area just felt awkward before. I think that they really cleaned this up. It was still a little bit awkward, but much, much, much better. So they go in and blast, they get the first kick, they kill Kree second. Once Kree dies, this is a really safe and easy fight. The only thing is that Vem can charge far away, so it's all about making sure that people aren't super far away from Vem. And they just blast it down with some target dummies and stuff, so easy peasy. See how it charges there, and then they move forward. So they all mount up. And I know that a lot of people are using their mount sets now. That's definitely a meta change that has been adopted by Eternal in these last couple weeks more universally. So it just leads to a couple seconds being faster. Again, here, I think there's the opportunity for more of the healers to get involved in some of the DPS. You're going to see Twist focus on healing, which is definitely the goal, right? That's what healers should be doing. But I think a dynamite, like right here, when you know the AoE shot is active and no one's taking damage, no reason to not get a little bit of damage in there. You don't want to be in as a caster because you'll get knocked away, but from a distance, if 5 people throw a dynamite, you see a bunch of these guys are. But instead of 50%, if it's 100% of the healers, I think it would make a considerable difference. So I don't know what he's doing. Looks like a little bit weird there. But anyways, they mount up. You saw that earlier the paladin swapped to the necklace that increases the Hodge stun by half a second. I think that's a great little modification. So the Hodge happens. They blast all the mobs down, and they're already getting ready to move forward. They set up the next area here for a quick start through this area. Painted almost dies there, but doesn't. They kill all the ads, and they can mount up and run really far while the rogue continues to bring everything forward. So they get really far forward there. I do think here there's more potential for continued speed items. I think they're using some like nifty and stuff, but I think there's like still even more room just in general to move faster through this area. But speaking of speed items, just something to mention after this. I still think ideally you want to be just running straight towards here and have the ads being pulled over here rather than running over here to the other area. I know that's tough to do, but in terms of optimal movement. But that was really good. They got both packs like that. So in general, really big worth to get them like this, but they should be dragging much more. So they mount up and go over to Visk. It's a fast Visk. A little hard to audit this perfectly. I think this can still be faster though. My question is, what if the whole raid uses Juju Flurry as melee? You have 3% faster attack speed. Is that good? I think it is, right? Um, Surprised to see that people aren't using that. I'm curious if that'll be a modification moving forward. But they quickly do the shatter, blast down all the ads. This is a bad dynamite here that you're going to see the paladin throw. Nothing's alive here. Hit one thing, and I think it was just Visk. So just an FYI. Not trying to be too critical, but like this paladin's really good. So I'm trying to find things that are bad more so than point out all the good things because again, I think this is just really good paladin healer gameplay. And if you're curious how to play paladin better, I would watch this person more. In general, they just have really good uptime throughout of always casting, always keeping an eye on important targets, having good positioning of their own character as well. That's something that some healers struggle with. So I think here there's a potential for time save. Everyone gets on their mount, and then 2 seconds later, they all have to mount again. I feel like, what if everyone uses a speed pot right there or something to just speed run? I just don't know if it's much of a time save how everyone has to then mount again. I'm curious. That's like a 2, 3 second sort of thing. Maybe not. If they have like, parachute and just jump. Maybe if everyone parachutes cloak, you don't need to speed pod. I don't know. Something. This was probably one of the biggest time losses overall in terms of just this Gigapole. It got this first Scorpion pack, so it just wasn't able to go super far deep, where it's like one single pack that they got. So it's just going to be more and more of these packs trickling in. And when it came to potential of Gigapoles, this was not Giga. So just thinking of future time save, this is definitely one of them. They do a good job pressing W and just running forward with these packs. Not hating on that. I do think that Blessing of Freedom is something that this paladin needs to be using in their toolkit here. It prevents people from getting hit by the poison. Not worried about buff cap. There's no reason not to be using it. If you see someone get the itch debuff, you put this Blessing of Freedom buff on them and they don't die. It's pretty magical. At the same time, they're killing skulls so fast that no one is even getting charged. So you'd only really do that on the first pull when it's a giga pull and there's multiple times that charges are going to happen and people may not have FAP up. Because if people have FAP up, then it's the same thing, right? So, anyways, fast hoo hoo here. It's already dead. They're absolutely blasting. This area here, I think there's slight potential for DPS increase. When you get plague, it means that people are out, and lots of times it's warrior DPS that aren't able to do as much DPS, so it's not a ton, but it's a little something. A little bit unfortunate pull right here. They instantly kill this mob, and they're able to be ready for the next, no problem, but a couple seconds wasted there. And they're like dragging backwards instead of moving forward, right? So a couple seconds lost in this area for sure. Not a whole ton to mention though, is much cleaner than some other times that they've fought this trash. And because their trash was so clean here, they go right into Twin Emps. Last time we talked about how on Twin Emps they were just not doing anything for like 10-15 seconds because they had to recover so much from the previous area. This time, not the case. This time they're just straight blasting. So everyone that's a DPS on the melee side, they're just going really ham right now. That side is going to end up being at like 50% by the time it teleports. And really clean, easy peasy. One swap happens, after the next swap it's going to die. So boss dies, then they move forward. This is the big test when it comes to just scariness. First pack, 4 spinners. Excuse me. So they just melt that first pack. Or I guess it was 3 spinners, 1 Mind Slayer. Little scary here where they pull 2 packs at once. And they end up killing this Mind Slayer in the back. A little bit awkward timing when it dies. So we didn't get the greatest view of seeing what happened with the double pull, but they just have a lot of ads basically stacked together, lots of people that are all silenced. Pretty scary situation. But once a bunch of the spinners are all dead, then it's easy peasy again. Then they kill that Mind Slayer. I think that Mind Slayer could have been brought back more and tucked back, but a lot of people are already moved forward and they aren't affected by it. So pretty good way to handle the Mind Slayer there. It only ended up affecting like 6 to 8 people. The rest of the raid is already running to the next pack. So in general, I thought their movement here was really good. Always dragging forward. They go into the next pack. Always dragging forward. And again, the situation here, this is a pretty good way of handling the Mind Slayer, where it's only affecting like 5 people of the raid. Everyone else has already moved forward. And it's almost like they don't even have to deal with Mind Slayers the way that they're handling it. So I think that this adaptation is really, really good. So they're just blasting like crazy here. Notice how they definitely focus the nullifier. I mean, you have to focus the nullifier, but if they're able to do more single target damage to the big guy and cleave off on the nullifiers, that's more optimal from a DPS standpoint in terms of them moving forward. All right, and again, just straight cleave fest. Not a whole ton to talk about here. We'll look in logs in just a second. Just see some basic things. Just basic press W, cleave, and move forward. It's kind of how AQ40 is. Not a whole ton to talk about at this point. Oro, same thing, right? You just kill the boss. They do all get stunned here, so this is bad. So yeah, I guess definitely not a great Oro. Looks like Tetsu is tanking for a second there. It's definitely not what you want. Anyways, yeah, Oro was a little sus. That was the second loss right there. They all have their mount gear on. They're all running forward quickly. You can tell that this raid is moving much faster and as a unit much better compared to weeks ago as they get more reps. So it's clean. No one died. Didn't beam each other. The healers are dying now, so it's more likely that down below it's going to always be warriors. Warriors are just going to blast down below, and very quickly they're going to enter the phase where they can finish off Cthulhu. Or Cthulhu, depending on how you feel about it. So that's what they do. And GG. Let's look at just a couple things in the logs here. Didn't have this planned when it came to the logs, so we'll just kind of see what stands out at me in the moment. Looks like there was one death, Stinger, so that speaks to the importance of Blessing of Freedom from Paladins. Rip. I didn't realize that. So yeah, that was the 1 second loss right there. Some warrior DPS was lost throughout the raid because the guy didn't have his buffs. So that's unfortunate. They need to kill Skull quicker. I just wanted to see some general gear, so I click on Summary over here. Main thing to look at when you're going through logs is I like to click on Encounters and Trash, and I just click on the main thing right here. Takes me to the summary. I like to see people's gear. I guess before we click on summary, we can click on damage taken. And I want to see like the main tanks. So it was Mad as the main tank, and Landa and Broxy were second and third. Beyond that, there's really not that much melee damage going out. I mean, some warriors are taking like 20, 30k in melee damage. That's not much. So just note Maddox gear here as far as LGG, not does have DFT, Thunder Fury, offhand of the sword from rank 14. Still using Ani neck. Ani neck is just such a powerful necklace throughout the game. Same with Onslaught Girdle, something you want to get early and just keep using it. Starting to get that rep from doing AQ40. Eventually, once this is the Exalted ring, it's something that so many different warriors are going to be using. It's just a really nice ring to have. Gives you hit, gives you stamina, gives you crit. It's great. Koef, super, super strong ring. And then interesting to see the Bracers of Wrath. Doesn't have brutality, but just nice stamina piece. So a little bit chunkier. Lando really isn't too different. This is just kind of the standard main tank gear that you see at this point. AQ40 gear is really strong, combined with the rank 14 swords. So beyond that, you're just going to see a sea of rank 14 swords in this raid, as well as Earth Strikes. I would assume that everyone has Earth Strike. Looks like Broxy might be a bad boy with no Earth Strike. Clone. I mean, a lot of these guys don't have Earth Strike. Jom, so some excuse there. Non-rank 14. So that's kind of the funny thing at this point, right? When rank 14 becomes an expectation, it's almost like this guy's griefing by not having rank 14 when it's like such a high expectation when you think about it, but at the same time, that's what speedrunning is. It's all about being the best. So I think he's the one guy. Yeah, he's the one non-rank 14er. So tisk tisk, mister. Get your game together. Lots of people don't have Earthstrike though. That's something that you want to have in your rotation. So again, when it comes to like maximum speedrun potential, lots more still on the table. I mean, when you see so much on the table like this, it's like sub 24 minutes sort of thing, you know? Like there's still so much. Um, and I'm just scratching the surface. Like, let's look at how many people don't have max rank heroic strike. So we can click on H after we click on casts. And what do you know? There's two different ranks of heroic strike. So I'm going to click on or hover over the ID, and I can see that there's this higher rank one versus the lower rank one. So there's still 6 people in this raid here that have the lower rank of heroic strike, and they're casting it over 100 times. So that just shows, right? Like it's a lot of damage too. All the people that are highest damage, so it was core that was ADT. Um, but like he's casting heroic strike a lot, and for 6 people to be casting that a lot and not have the higher rank, that's a big deal. And there's going to be things like that throughout. If you start looking through these logs more and more, clicking on casts and then abilities is really powerful. So same thing with battle shout here, right? We can see that this group here, they're using the lower rank battle shout, or maybe not this group, but some guys in these different groups, they don't have the higher rank battle shout. So at times when they're not near someone else in their party that is doing the job for them, they're just out of luck. But yeah, cast is really powerful. We do cast by spell. That's another way to do it. So it's just interesting to see the different spells that are cast and like the disparity in dark runes, right? Like Bonzo's casting 9 2 is casting 4. So does that mean that 2 has the potential to be just having much more mana output? Like, look at their cast, how many Holy Novas? 3. Definitely feel like more potential for Holy Novas for this raid group. More Holy Novas. Besides Crypt. Crypt's going ham. So yeah, at this point I can just start rambling much more with logs. I'm kind of curious to get the feedback from this video, see what you guys think, see which things I should go into more. I used to stream this content a lot more, talking about this kind of stuff, and I just have computer issues right now, so I can't really be reliably streaming. But I definitely want to be doing more of this kind of stuff if that interests you. So yeah, let me know. But for now, till next time, I plan on talking about the 5 Sunders Please raid that tied this. Technically, I don't really know why they're shown as rank 1 in comparison, but they are, so I think that's just kind of going to be an interesting comparison to look at the feel of that raid, since I haven't looked at that in a while. But besides that, guys, have a great one.